Hey, wrestling fans. Welcome to another edition of Wrestling After Show, coming at you from the palatial After Show studios right here in the heart of the Mid-Atlantic territory. I'm Heath Haynes.
I'm Jonny Fairplay.
And we're here to talk about all the things we like in professional wrestling this week, some of the things we don't, and some of the new stuff and some of the old stuff. Obviously, this week, the main item of business is going to be Survivor Series coming up this weekend. As we record this, we're going to be doing a full preview of the upcoming WWE PLE Survivor Series, and we're going to take a look at a classic War Games, considered by many to be the best War Games match of all time, out of course from Wrestle War 92 WCW, the Sting Squadron versus the Dangerous Alliance. But we've got quite a lot to cover. We're going to jump right into it, Fairplay.
Sure, let's do it. So we have Survivor Series coming up, where teams of 5 strive to survive.
No.
Oh, all right. Sorry.
I wish there was room on this card for a classic Survivor Series.
The Visionaries?
Match. It would be awesome. But alas, no. Survivor Series has now become the home of the WWE's version of War Games. And I do say the WWE's version because as we when we talk about our classic War Games today, we're going to see that there are a lot of notable differences from the original vision of the War Games, the match beyond,
yes,
and the current incarnation of that match. But we're going to dive right into it with our Survivor Series preview, and we're going to kick off with some of the undercard matches. LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the United States Championship. This match was just announced. Obviously, they've 2 weeks of TV to build up to this, and boom, it's on the pay-per-view. What are you thinking?
Obviously something else is going to happen on SmackDown that was pre-recorded. I've avoided spoilers perfectly.
Me too.
Or purposely, or perfectly.
Yeah.
I haven't got them.
So it'll be 3 weeks of build.
Yeah, I thought this felt more like a Saturday Night's Main Event feud.
Sure.
Like the vibe of Saturday Night's Main Event, the old school 80s, potentially Jesse the Body on commentary. You got the very much 80s character, LA Knight, versus the quote-unquote Foreign Menace.
Yeah.
I mean, if that doesn't scream Saturday Night's Main Event, what does?
I like that idea. And I think moving forward, we're going to see these the mid-card titles defended more on regular TV and sort of and stuff like Saturday Night's Main Event. And the big title is going to be reserved for the PLEs. But for this particular match, you have our Women's World Champion and the WWE Women's Champion both involved in the War Games. And
you have our other world champion who can't get the guy to fight him.
Oh, I think we're gonna save that's gonna be our Saturday Night's main event. Main event is gonna be Cody and KO, I believe.
And I feel like it's gonna be one of those non-ending type deals.
I think it'll be kicking the can.
Yeah. That's a little angle action.
Well, so far for this U.S. Championship match that we're discussing right now. I like the refresh on Nakamura. I think we haven't seen him, work a match, but it seems like sort of the spasticity of his entrance is gone because he's just like sort of this this haunted vision of maybe a disgraced samurai warrior.
Sure.
Is kind of, and I really like that. I like the use of the makeup.
Yeah.
And you're right. I believe they probably will do a little more build up. There'll be another little piece of business maybe this week on SmackDown. But I think you go ahead and put that belt on Nakamura. I think I think LA Knight's had it long enough. I mean, for him, it was just winning it. You needed that moment. But now this will give him something to fight for, and it'll really juice up Nakamura for his return to the ring.
I can see Nakamura not trying to win the championship and just trying to hurt LA Knight.
Maybe so.
And I'm okay with that. Like maybe some myths missed, DQ, beat down, and Nakamura he can leave with the belt but doesn't win it.
Nakamura comes out on top, maybe not necessarily with the title, but comes out on the positive side of this.
Well, I mean, he's going to beat LA Knight's ass. As I said, the miss, DQ finish, and beat down.
Yeah.
And as I said, can leave with the belt. Who cares?
Yeah.
So
I like it.
But you referred to the spastic open that we're used to with Disco Nakamura and his Elvis suits. I like the new look, the more cloaky look. I'm hoping it stays more. He almost has like a Anakin Skywalker Sith Jedi deal.
Sure. Yeah. I see all that,
and I'm fine with that. New music.
Oh, for sure. I think he'll have some new music. Well, the crowd had sort of gotten away from singing along with his music anyway, so maybe they don't really necessarily have to change it.
I'd be cool if they did like a slowed down,
like a variation on it,
scarier.
Sure.
Yeah.
I could see that a variation on the entrance theme. I think would work with the updated presentation. Moving on though, because we do have a lot of ground to cover.
Sure.
Triple threat match set last night on Raw as we're recording this for the Intercontinental Championship. Braun Breaker defending in a triple threat match against Ludwig Kaiser and also Sheamus. And, this is pretty much where this was going the whole time.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for it. I think it'll be a good time. I think Braun Breaker comes out on top.
Yeah.
But I just want to say a little about, I think, the rise of Ludwig Kaiser. We've been talking about him for a few weeks on the program, and I'm seeing more and more I like out of this guy every week. Last night, they're doing the customary entrance to Raw now, where they're showing everybody's entrance, and just and his shot, man. He just he's got that European ice cold demeanor. And then when he walks out, man, no entrance robe, no nothing. Just like when you're looking like that, you don't want to cover that up, man. He looks like $1 million. He can work, he can talk in his character. I think he's great. I see more upside for him, but I do think Breaker is gonna do it.
I envision the entrance completely different. We saw Nia Jax and Tiffy walk, and then we saw Kaiser come from around the corner. I felt like we missed the 30 seconds of footage prior where Kaiser gives Tiffy a little kiss, and then he's like, "Well, good luck tonight, sweetie." She goes, "Oh, you go win too. You go win yourself a belt." And he's like, "All right." And then we followed. We join later in action. But no, he's great. I feel we could be seeing double duty for Ludwig Kaiser on SummerSlam or Survivor Series evening.
You think he gets maybe involved in this World Heavyweight Championship match?
I think he comes out and he helps Gunther win, and Gunther goes, "I didn't ask for that." He goes, "Yeah, but you needed me," and the fact that you didn't know that, there's the problem.
That would be a nice piece of storytelling right there, and leads us right into the next match we're going to talk about. Of course, for the World Heavyweight Championship, former champion Damian Priest getting his rematch and challenging current champion Gunther. And they've just been this. We always talk about layers on the show, and when you can take a character on paper seemingly as one-dimensional as Gunther,
yes,
foreign menace, mustache twirling, evil villain that just wrecks everybody in the ring. When you can take a character like that and add some layers to it and show the fallibility, if you will, and the way he's portraying it, not even saying a word, because he's barely cut a promo in a couple weeks, and it's just all through body language and facial expression. I do have to say that last night, sort of the go home segment for this match, Damian Priest did okay. He's one of these guys that can do okay, but it was an obviously memorized sort of recitation of a promo that he gave, and it was a little wooden, but it got the job done, and I'm excited to see this match. And honestly, I think they could go either way on this one. I mean, well, let me put it to you this way, Fairplay. Let me ask you: does the Gunther in decline story need to keep advancing, or is that just something that to get us to this match?
I think it just bought us a month or so,
Yeah.
but I'm still okay with that.
Yeah.
So as I said, I think the story coming out of this is going to be Gunther and Kaiser.
Okay.
And I'm cool with that. And going back to Braun Breaker real quick, I think Breaker retains, but I love the slotting of Breaker as a tweener. We haven't had a true tween. I mean, I think the last like true tweener like this, Kevin Owens.
Sure.
It's been like, and I mean, and we're talking what, you know, 3, 4, 5 years ago, Kevin Owens. So.
And you're right. And the way they're booking it is, I mean, triple threat match, heel, babyface, and Braun Breaker. You know, who is going to be kind of heelish, but he doesn't cheat.
No.
You know, so, and people like the people are behind him, but
he barks.
Yeah, but he's not a good guy.
He doesn't listen to the ref.
You know?
But then again, refs suck.
Yeah. So I think booking him as a tweener is great, and that way you can just kind of put him with whatever until you ultimately do want to, like, okay, now you are a baby.
Yeah. That's where we're just spinning the wheel right now.
Yeah.
It ends on babyface.
Yeah. Eventually. And okay, so here we go. The women's War Games match. We have not discussed this at all on this show because, like I said, we do like to focus on things we like. And the lead up to this match was problematic for me as a wrestling fan in several ways. It felt just thrown together. No logic to it. You have people on the same team, i.e. Bianca Belair and Io Sky, who like a month ago were at each other's throats. And it just seemed like, well, we've got a men's War Games. We have to have a women's War Games. What can we do? As opposed to actually having stories that you feel like need to culminate in a War Games match. I feel like this would have been a great place to slot in the traditional Survivor Series
teams of 5 strive to survive.
I think that would have been great here. So you have sort of a clunky setup to a match now with a massive monkey wrench thrown into it with the injury of Jade Cargill last week on SmackDown. Now, I had some thoughts about this. Since the angle on Friday and the announcement after that, the WWE put out the laundry list.
Yeah, did you get
it was the sprained MCL, bruised patella, origin of multiple. It was just all this stuff, and obviously a phony angle. A piece of business to do all this. My initial thoughts were like, oh, they just don't have any confidence in her whatsoever to do perform in a War Games match, and then also, in this U.S. women's.
Not the case.
Yeah, not the case. She's actually injured.
She actually
has a neck injury.
Yeah.
Or she's pregnant. No, that's it. I mean,
Well, no, or she has deep lumbar, paraspinal muscle contusions, bruised kidney, sprained MCL in her right knee, tibial plateau bone bruise of her right knee, and facial laceration with no possible timetable.
I gotta say, I found that hilarious. The actual prognosis is 3 months to a year. She's going to be out. So you got to look at she needs a replacement for that U.S. title tournament. She needs a replacement in this War Games match, and they're gonna have to vacate those women's tag team championships. So it was a real bad time for her to get injured. So now we're adding Bailey into the mix, apparently, as this fifth member to take Jade's place. And if you watch this show, you know that we're not real big on Bailey.
No,
the current incarnation.
I was talking with Jason Powell on the Pro Wrestling Boom podcast, and I felt the obvious spots were spot fillers were Becky Lynch or Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing they're saving both for Netflix, and that's great. But like when you call an audible, as I said, Bailey's like the Seth Rollins coming out for the fifth member of the OG bloodline.
Makes too much sense, but not in a good way.
Yeah, it's just like, okay.
Well, we're tired of seeing her. We're tired of this current incarnation, and the way they've injected her into the situation is she came in and helped Bianca win the advantage. And that's always shitty in war. You never want the babyface team to have the advantage in War Games matches. You always want and so it's like even that's clunky.
Well, that just helped guarantee us the heels get the advantage in the men's War Games.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. So anyway, to break it down, it's looking like it's Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Io Sky, and probably Bailey versus Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, and Candice LeRae.
Yeah, I feel Candice LeRae is our beautiful Bobby. But we'll get there.
She's taking that fall. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to this. I think the build-up's been clunky is a kind way of putting it. And it's just kind of an unnecessary match. And I'm sure Rhea will be awesome. And I'm sure Tiffany Stratton will do some awesome shit too.
There we go.
Pretty much.
Good guys win.
Good guys win. Yeah. Moving on to the main event of Survivor Series. It's the SmackDown. It's the SmackDown. It's the War Games match.
It's teams of 5 strive to survive.
It's the War Games match that we have after months of speculation. And now we finally know the teams. We finally know what's happening. It's the OG Bloodline, Roman Reigns, the Usos, Sami Zayn, and their partner CM Punk versus the new Bloodline, of course, Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, the Tongans, and their extra man Bronson Reed. So this brings us to the addition. We've gone back and forth. I was like, okay, it's gonna be Seth Rollins. Everybody was like, it's gonna be Seth Rollins. But we meant, but last week, to our credit, we did mention the fact that why call Paul Heyman now if he's not going to become involved, if he doesn't have something to say about who that fifth member is going to be, and if he was to say who the fifth member is going to be, it was Brock Lesnar or CM Punk.
Yeah,
we decided, and it was CM Punk, and it's way better that way, right?
Yeah, and I think this kind of puts the pieces where they need to be coming out of Survivor Series. I think we're getting a brooding Seth Rollins that is pissed that CM Punk has circumvented the system again. Has even though Seth said under no circumstance would he team with Roman Reigns, he still needs that piece of Bronson Reed that CM Punk has taken from him.
Yeah, he's going to be super pissed, and there's so many directions that we can go out of this match, as far as possible matchups going out. I think the number one thing you got to think about is Seth Rollins of it all. It's a War Games match, and a big difference between modern day War Games and classic War Games is there's no roof on that cage. So Seth Rollins wants to, he can just come down there and climb that cage and insert himself.
I don't want that.
Point. Whether you want it is irrelevant. He could do that. He could insert himself in that way. He's this definitely. I think if we're gonna do the CM Punk Seth Rollins thing down the road, I think they need to dispel any notion of just cheer for whoever you like. Because I think there needs to be a clearly framed baby face and heel, and I think in this at this point, I think Seth Rollins turning heel makes the most sense. Although, of course, we all love to see a heel turn from CM Punk down the road. I think right now
it's not time.
Turn Seth Rollins heel, take all that goofy shit out of his presentation.
Actually, I think it would get the reaction that it gets from me.
Well, yeah, exactly. I think a leaner, meaner Seth Rollins without the theme song, because of the Pavlovian response that people have to that song now. They can't help but sing along. I think take that away, and it'll be fine, because when he eventually turns babyface again,
you can bring the stupid song back.
Bring the stupid fucking song back, and everybody will love it. So yeah, there's that. You have
Roman Punk.
You have Roman and Punk. You have Heyman, who we have to remember, like, none of this is by accident. Everything you see on TV, everything you notice, you're like, oh, maybe that means something. Yeah, it means something.
Does.
So the fact that he comes out and he makes his return
looking like
Jacob Fatu, not Jacob Fatu, but looking like Solo Sikoa, down to the tan and everything, I think cannot be underestimated. So maybe Paul Heyman is there not to actually have the back of Roman Reigns, but maybe to show where his true allegiance lies. That's a possibility. I mean, we could sit here all day and talk about all the possibilities that could come out of this match.
I love it. That's why you pay the $7 to Peacock. Well, usually that's why you pay the $50.
Yeah,
that's why you pay the $29.95, the $39.95, the $69.95. It kept going up.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't remember, we were paying $70 a pay-per-view for WrestleMania at one time.
Yeah.
So
indeed.
And now it's $7. I think it's free. Like, I think I get it free now.
Well, you get a lot of shit free.
Yeah, well, no, I think I have AT. I think it's free with AT&T.
Peacock is.
Yeah.
There's actually a bundle coming up now where I think it's Peacock, Netflix, and Apple TV, and you get them all together, and it's like $30 a month, which is like way cheaper than you would than they would be separately.
Sure.
But regardless of what we're paying for this thing,
it's Jonny Fairplay, reality TV icon, Survivor Hall of Famer, and I'm talking today about Work Money. Work Money is a non-profit organization that focuses on lowering costs and raising incomes for all Americans to make American life more affordable and American families more economically secure. They provide products, services, perks, benefits, tips, and tools to help members improve their financial lives. It's time to level up and make more money in this economy. We're talking getting rich. Now, this sweepstakes is giving away $50,000. You can use this to pay your rent, your mortgage. Imagine what you can do with all the money that you'll save. Now, this is put on by Work Money, and this site has all these sick benefits, and it's free. Go sign up right now and get more rich. Now, listen, you can change your life. Now, what would you do if you didn't have to pay your rent or mortgage for a year? Listen. Sign up right now for free. Link is available right here in the show notes. Check them out. Personally, I'd get more pinball machines. I'm Jonny Fairplay. I wouldn't lie about that. It's Work Money. More money.
Yeah, and the match itself, it's not going to be anywhere near as compelling action-wise as our classic match.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
Our classic match. And it'll be, I mean, we're not going to see that level of bloodshed. I'm sure there'll be a little color, but it's going to be a lot of super kicks and like Uso punches and like whatever.
Singapore cane.
Yeah. And basically I'm just there to see, the finish.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be a great finish. And
where are you going on the finish? So there's two schools of thought here.
Okay.
I did Jason Powell's Pro Wrestling Boom podcast. Right. Shout out Jason Powell. And ProWrestling.net.
Friend of the show.
Yes, absolutely. Big time friend of the show. I'm just like, look, this is hunky dory. Everyone loves WWE, WWE. So do you just give them the baby faces raise their hands at the end, and it's just like, hey, we did it. War Games. The good guys won. CM Punk gets his music. Roman Reigns gets everyone gets their music, we're good. Or is this where you throw down the heat? Because if the good guys win and all that's left is, your two runoff matches with Roman versus Jacob and Roman versus Solo, that's not a lot. I mean, it's good, but it's not holy moly. Whereas if the bad guys just beat the crap out of someone, or there's some kind of angle coming out of this, that's the holy moly. And I think the only way for the holy moly out of this PLE is the heels win.
I'm with you on that. That would go into my what I've likened to this whole thing too, the hero's journey of Roman Reigns, and more adversity. We're not at the end yet, so so if he loses, if his team loses, that's more adversity. But also a part of that is little victories along the way. And although this is this monumental match involving these two forces, the two sides of the bloodline, I think looking back, it's going to be a blip. It's going to be a blip, and I think this could be, in the grand scheme of things, a small victory. I think that what's going to happen is I think the baby faces are going over. I think OG Bloodline is going over just to get that feel good moment.
That's right
in the room, but then after the match, something is going to happen.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, something's going to happen.
Oh, they must have watched AEW, because 15 things happened after the match.
So, yeah, I think it'll be that moment of it'll be a momentary victory, symbolic, and then The Rock shows up, or something becomes clearer, or maybe they win, and then that's when Heyman turns on everybody, or
Rollins brings his new group, him and Drew McIntyre, and
whatever it is. So I'm thinking the baby faces go over to get that moment, that pop. Yay! Okay. Oh wait. Now this.
I'm cool with that. As I said,
I don't know what the other thing will be, but yeah.
But I feel like we are in that let's celebrate WWE version of WWE. And in that version, like Bruce Pritchard used to always say when Vince was booking, Hogan must pose. It doesn't matter what happens, the biggest angle ever. At the end of the night, Hulk gets up,
right,
and he poses to all four sides.
Yeah.
It has to happen. So it's just like, they just set the American flag on fire. They just kicked his dog. Hillbilly Jim they ripped his arm off, but Hogan still posed.
Yeah, he gets up, throws a couple guys out of the ring, and there you go.
Yeah. So I feel like we're that, the good guys have to good guy.
Yeah.
That's what the people pay. This ain't a cheap ticket.
No, and this is a drag. So I've got to say I've been fortunate enough over the years to have known, as have you, different entities working at different levels in WWE, and if they were ever coming anywhere near me, it's like tickets were a phone call away.
Yeah.
Not the case, apparently, so much anymore, as far as talent are not getting comp tickets anymore.
Oh, no.
And
I'm lucky. I'm lucky I made my friends, the friendships I made when I made them with the people. Yeah. Woo! Yeah. So both companies.
So it's these are hard tickets to get, and you do want to send the crowd home happy. And I think we'll get that moment of momentary victory, but then after that something happens. There's so much going on, ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
and go ahead.
Let me tell you about. I watched the AEW Full Gear pay-per-view.
Well, I did want to ask you about this because the name of the show is Wrestling After Show.
Yeah, it's not WWE After Show.
We never talk about AEW, so please enlighten us of your experience with karaoke.
Yes, it was a much easier to digest pay-per-view than normal. I was not staring at my watch.
As time wise,
it was 4 hours. I guess 4. I did watch the pre-show with
the
Costco guy. Yeah. And The Rizzler.
Who is that? I don't know what that is.
It's this little kid. I've never wanted to punch someone more in my entire life, and he's fucking 8 years old. Like, I literally want to punch through his face.
I thought the kid was Big Justice.
No, that's another kid.
That's another kid.
He delivered a spear.
I did see that.
Yes. For the record, I think it was like a 12-minute match, maybe in 14 minutes. It wasn't bad.
Which apparently the Costco guy worked with a broken foot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he broke his foot like the day before and didn't tell anybody and worked the match. And then,
but the Rizzler
is this a thing he does?
Yeah, that's all he does. That's literally all he does.
He's working.
And then he did, and then he did the.
Wow.
Shivani is putting it over like insanely.
Okay.
And I'm just like, what is happening? And Jeff Jarrett was like, he goes, if I find that kid back, if I find the Rizzler, I'm smashing him with the guitar. And I was like, I have never become a bigger Jeff Jarrett mark than I. Like this beats the Beetlejuice gif if this happens.
So it was a little more compressed time wise. The entire show.
No, it felt like it.
Yeah.
It felt like it. So, and that speaks volumes because a lot of times it doesn't. I'm just like, I feel like this is 12 hours. Like this is torture. So no, but the main event is Orange Cassidy versus John Moxley. Yeah. And they ring the bell, boom, out of the gate, Superman punch, boom, Superman punch, boom, Superman punch. It's like, holy smolies. And then they go outside. Moxley takes over, bloody mess, Orange Cassidy, and he's doing everything. I mean, and this is going to get over. He's got Orange Cassidy in the back, and he just rakes his back with his fingernails, but literally draws blood.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh yeah, that's some good shit, pal. So anyway, end of the match. Of course, people come out from each side. Moxley wins, and so afterwards. Because we can't be done.
There's like 40 angles after the thing. Yeah.
Yes. So first they bring some disinfectant, and so
they make him drink it. Yeah.
They pour it over his open cuts and make him drink it, and then they shit can him, and then Hangman Adam Page comes out. I'm like, oh, all right, what's and he beats up John Moxley.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, is this babyface turn? Because this, and apparently he has some kind of allegiance or alliance or whatever with alliance. I don't know the word alliance. I was on Survivor. I don't know the word alliance. So anyway, he has an alliance with Christian Cage, and so Christian Cage has the piggy bank money in the piggy bank gimmick or whatever. It's
like a big chip. Don't they want a big chip?
No, this is like a folder thing. It's stupid.
Oh, okay.
Don't get me started.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's got that. So he's going to cash in, and then Jay White comes in to stop him. So then there's that. And then they beat up Jay White, and it's this whole whatever. So then they leave, and they go to leave, and they're putting over this truck that they ride to the arena in, this truck. And out of nowhere, this graffitied out car smashes the truck bad. And and they're like, who could be driving the truck?
Darby Allin.
And I'm just like, who else has it's a graffitied car?
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? So anyway, they steal the keys from the valet, and then they see that there's someone else and they say they end up stealing that car, and they take the keys from it. So there's someone going to leave, and they're just like, like they just stole that person's keys for no reason. They could have, hey, we don't need this anymore. But so anyway, and Hangman Adam Page was stopped by Christopher Daniels after he did all that. He punches Christopher Daniels. I'm like, all right, so he did turn face. Apparently not. So then Darby Allin, who hit the other car, I don't think he was wearing a seatbelt. And of course, he really smashes the truck because that's what Darby Allin does.
Yeah.
So he tries to climb up on the hood of the truck to smash the window with the skateboard. Well, he's obviously concussed. He's got blood pouring down his face from the car wreck because he wasn't wearing a seatbelt and had to really crash the car. And I'm like, what am I watching here?
Yeah, it's. I'm glad you watched it, and I'm. And again, my blanket statement on all things AEW is, if you like that kind of thing, awesome. I hope you really enjoyed it. and I hope nobody actually got hurt. And it sounds like somebody did actually get hurt.
And we'll also got to throw in there 6 pile drivers. Because you saw the other show taking it seriously as like, oh, well, let's just transition move the shit out of this.
Yeah, no accident there.
Yeah. Come on, man.
You
know, if they do it, you can do it too, and it'll work for you.
No, man, because like what they're doing is really working. It's really working there, because they want to just get fewer and fewer people, and I think
they want to centralize.
I think the theory is the lower the number of people, the higher the intensity. And so
golf score.
They're going to ultimately get down to one dude who just really, really loves AEW.
His name is Tony.
Yeah, his name is Tony.
Yeah.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Little report on karaoke night there from Jonny Fairplay. But we're going to move on to our some actual mayhem.
Sure.
My brand of mayhem, and this historically noted War Games match. From 1992, Wrestle War 1992, May of 1992, WCW Wrestle War pay-per-view.
From Jacksonville?
In Jacksonville, and it's been widely noted as the best War Games ever. I had never watched it, though. I had never watched it, and you suggested we check it out for this week, and I'm so glad you suggested it because it really is something to behold. So you have the Dangerous Alliance, which is Paul Heyman's team that he's managing at the time. And, I mean, the whole match is just murderer's row of current, past, and future superstars at this time. The Dangerous Alliance is Rick Rude, Steve Austin. Was he Hollywood Steve or was he Stunning Steve? He's Stunning Steve Austin at this point. Rick Rude, Steve Austin, Larry Zbyszko, Arn Anderson,
Cruncher,
the Cruncher. They kept saying that, and I was like, I thought they were saying Crusher on commentary.
It's the Cruncher. I think they had done a gimmick where they had crunched someone's leg.
Quite possibly.
Sure.
Larry Zbyszko, Bobby Eaton, Arn Anderson, Rick Rude, and Steve Austin, and then also Medusa plays a role in this match as well. Versus the Sting Squadron. Get this: Barry Windham, Ricky Steamboat, Dustin Rhodes, Sting, and Nikita Koloff. Like 5 are like the biggest baby faces of all time. And I know everybody's worked heel back and forth, but when each of those guys were baby faces, just tremendous baby faces. So those are your two teams.
They call him the Natural.
And this thing starts, and Dusty was booking at this point. I think.
So.
The match starts off, and it's classic War Games rules, which are a little different from modern day War Games rules. So you have 2 teams of 5, 2 guys, 2 rings surrounded by a steel cage with a roof on top. 2 guys go into the ring, and they're in there for 5 minutes, 1-on-1, 1 guy from each team. And then after that 5 minutes, there's a coin toss. Whichever team wins the coin toss gets to send in a guy for a 2-on-1 advantage. And that lasts for 2 minutes.
Yes.
And then the team that lost the coin toss sends a guy in. Now it's 2-on-2. It goes back and forth like that every 2 minutes until all 10 men are in the ring.
And then
War Games is over.
Yes.
Because War Games is just the preamble to the match beyond. The match beyond occurs when all 10 men are in the ring, no pinfalls, no countouts, no disqualification, submit or surrender.
I love that gimmick.
Because you think, well, isn't that the same thing? No. Surrender could just be like, no, I'm good. I quit. Yeah, white flag.
And you could have someone surrender, like we used to have J.J. Dillon surrender for the Horsemen.
Sure.
Outside the ring. So Paul Heyman or Medusa could surrender.
Could surrender.
Yes.
Sure.
So
This thing starts off just 5 minutes of Barry Windham and Steve Austin.
Yes, who were currently feuding over the world television title. Barry had just beat Steve Austin, and I don't even remember that in history.
Yeah,
because I remember the feud that Austin had with Ricky Steamboat over the world television title.
Sure.
That I believe happens after this, and that culminates at Fall Brawl in Roanoke, which I was at, and Ricky Steamboat could not participate. That's like when his that's like right before his last match.
Mm-hmm.
And so the substitute is Hacksaw Jim Duggan. An impromptu match. It's like a 90-second match. Hacksaw Jim Duggan beats Stunning Steve Austin to become world television champion at Fall Brawl, Roanoke Civic Center. The first fan they show afterwards celebrating the win of Hacksaw Jim Duggan is young Jonny Fairplay.
There it is.
Oh my! I'm so embarrassed.
What a moment. So we've got Barry Windham and Steve Austin start this thing up, and within moments, it seems, Steve Austin is busted open. And these guys are working. You quickly see, though, the limitations and possibly why they don't do the roof anymore.
Yeah.
Because it severely limits any kind of move that gets vertical. So, like, a suplex is, like, out of the question. A lot of the body slams, especially if you're Barry Windham, so it's a lot of kicking and punching.
Tall drink of water, Barry Windham.
And face gouging and raking against the cage, and a lot of blood. As this thing proceeds, out of the 10 guys, I think you could safely say 6 of them got color.
I think everybody. Steamboat did not.
Larry, I think he did.
No, he had the
Larry and Bobby definitely didn't.
And Steamboat, and I think that's it. Maybe Sting. Sting and Nikita. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, you can remember the guys that did. Definitely Austin. Yeah. Definitely Windham. Definitely Dustin. Definitely Arn.
Yeah.
Arn. Jesus Christ! I don't know if I've ever seen. Man, he popped a gusher.
Yeah. They all do. They're just like, it's just like, this is the most blood I've ever seen. They're like, hold my beer.
When we say they left it in the ring, they literally left a lot of themselves in the ring.
Everyone's ring gear were covered in blood. Whether you bled or not, you were covered in blood.
It was gross.
Yeah, it was gross. The ring was covered in blood.
Yeah, and so the match goes on, and
Sting. Dude, he's a big guy.
Yeah.
Like I sent you a deal earlier, the Freedom Fighters wrestling debut.
They were actually bigger then when they were just like purely when he debuted, he was just a pure bodybuilder, straight off of the beach.
The Freedom Fighters were Jim Hellwig and Steve Borden, who are the Ultimate Warrior, and Sting. And they interviewed him, just like, they're like, hey, you're new to wrestling? Yeah, we have a couple losses. I'm just like, what? Why do you have a couple losses? But you see, you see how strong they were then. And if you watch, Sting in AEW was a giant. And you don't think of Sting as because the matches with Sting and Vader, Vader's so huge.
Yeah.
You think about Sting and Big Daddy Cool. Big Daddy Cool's huge, but Sting is a big boy. And Sting just I don't remember who it was. It doesn't matter who it is. But he is just pressing over his head.
It was Rick Rude.
Rick Rude, and into the cage.
Yeah.
Just over and over. And the strength to just do that over and over is insanity.
Yeah. Also, the core strength for Rick Rude to hold that position, because you can't be flopping around.
No.
The guy that's getting that done to him has to, so he. And I don't think Rick Rude has ever looked better than he did at this point in 1992. And there's actually some storytelling involved as well, because Nikita Koloff, there was possibly some doubt as to if he was truly going to be a trustworthy teammate for the Sting Squadron. He is the last man to enter, and there's a moment where, and eventually they hug. And I hadn't seen any of the build-up for this.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm watching it cold, and even just that moment, knowing Sting, knowing Nikita Koloff, I was like, yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, and I like there's we talked before. There's this tension. It's like, will he or will he be with the Stinger Squadron? And I'm just like, he's wearing a jacket that says "World Peace" on it.
Yeah, it has the Russian and American flag on the back.
Yeah, and I'm like, if this, like, I mean, way to commit and waste $85 on a fake leather jacket from Fine's Men's Shop at the mall.
So the ending of this match, though, is where it loses some points.
Yes,
for me.
it
gets a little convoluted. At the beginning of the match, it's a really cool aspect that I enjoyed was Paulie Dangerously, Paul Heyman, out there with the spreadsheets and the blueprints and the game plan, and he's like really animatedly going over this game plan. And one thing he says, he's like, if we get them in this corner, we got to get them in this corner.
Yeah.
So that the corner is gonna play a role in this thing.
And Jim Ross is having none of it. Jim Ross on commentary with Jesse Ventura. What corner? Why is he referring to a corner?
At one point, Medusa climbs the cage and drops in the cell phone, the big brick Zach Morris cell phone that a couple people get clocked with. But as the melee is ensuing all around the ring, you see various members, primarily Rick Rude, of the Dangerous Alliance, going to this one corner, and they're loosening up that turnbuckle, not the padded part, but the part that goes
the connector piece
from the rope to the ring post, and they're loosening that up, and they're loosening that up.
A lot of loosening,
and the top rope is getting floppier and floppier. And people trying to do stuff off the top.
They're not like, Sting knows pretty quick. He's like, who fucked with the rope?
Yeah. So this is what I love. Rick Rude finally gets it off.
Yeah.
And then Bobby Eaton goes over and puts it. Rick Rude has struggled to free this because what's going to end up happening is by doing all of this twisting and releasing this turnbuckle, you're going to end up at the end of the day having a giant piece of heavy metal about this long
with a hook on the end that Larry Zbyszko was kind enough to turn the other way at the last second.
You can whack somebody with.
Yeah.
And so Bobby Eaton, bless his heart, goes over and hooks it back up after Rick Rude has unhooked it. So somebody has to go back over there. They unhook it, and Bobby Eaton was the last guy, the last heel to enter into this thing. And the thing is, I imagine the thing is supposed to be disconnected from the ropes, but it's not. The ring is still going. So Larry Zbyszko picks this thing up,
like,
and
screw it.
And he has the entire length of ring rope in between, and he's going to clock whoever Sting or whoever Bobby Eaton is holding. They do the switcheroo.
Oh, yeah.
He clocks Bobby Eaton in the arm.
Yeah.
Which, like, if you're going to hit somebody with a turnbuckle rod, sure, hit him in the arm. And then Sting gets a hold of it, armbar, and Bobby Eaton has to submit.
Yeah.
And then everybody yells at Larry Zbyszko, where they really should be yelling at Bobby Eaton for like, why did you go hook the thing back up?
So.
I
remember post this that they kick
Zbyszko out. They're setting it all up.
Yeah.
I watched the whole and honestly, if you want to go back and watch this whole thing, the whole pay-per-view has got some really entertaining matches. I got to say, for me, there was the semi-main event is the Steiners versus Tatsumi Fujinami and another Japanese wrestler I can't remember the name of. He's not one of the big names, but they had an incredible match featuring. And I wanted to ask you this: they did a fucking thing. The Japanese team. Fujinami has got Steiner up like they're going to do a doomsday device on him, right? They've got Steiner up on Tatsumi Fujinami's shoulders, right?
Yeah.
The other Japanese guy jumps off the top rope. Rick Steiner grabs him and belly-to-belly suplexes him off the top of Tatsumi Fujinami's shoulders.
Never seen it.
It's worth seeing.
Well, I mean, I saw it then. I've never seen it prior or
it's
after.
fucking wild.
Prior or after that.
And I'm not a guy that like pops for big moves and stuff.
Oh, I'm a guy that pops for big. Why don't you pop for big moves?
I don't know. It's
my god. Are you going to be here Saturday for Survivor Series?
I don't know. Am I?
Who's to say?
We'll see.
All right.
But anyway, it's worth. So that match is incredible, and then there's Freebirds versus Terry Taylor, who was featured in our last match we broke down last week. Terry Taylor versus Greg Valentine, and then there's another Big Josh, which is Matt Bourne, also Doink the Clown versus Richard Morton from the Rock and Roll Express. A lot of good matches. It's Wrestle War 92. You should go check it out. But I think we're going to be about done here for this week's episode.
Yeah,
Wrestling After Show.
Yeah, I'm going to be in Charlottesville tomorrow, possibly.
Okay.
Get your tickets now. Go to SurvivorTix.com. If enough of you don't, I'm not.
There it is.
I got shit to do. So go to SurvivorTix.com and get a cameo. I'm still in 5th place out of like 300 survivors. It's insanity. Like I'm looking at the list, and like there's current survivors on the current season that are doing well, and I'm beating them. And I'm like, what is happening in the world that I'm consistently in the top 5?
Staying busy on Cameo.
Yeah, cameo.com/Jonny Fairplay.
So we are, and ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be, we're going to do our episode next week, and then we're going on hiatus for a while.
A little bit.
Yeah, because you're going to be taping a television show that we will be hearing all about.
Well, no, I'm not.
You're not?
Yeah, that's the whole story.
Oh.
We'll reconvene.
Okay, we'll reconvene. Maybe we're not going on hiatus.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a ramshackle episode, but we're enjoying it, and we hope you are enjoying it too. Please do all the YouTube and social media type of things, like, subscribe, leave a rating, a review, leave a comment, all that good stuff. And in the meantime, in between time, I'm Heath Haynes. This is Jonny Fairplay, and we'll see you at the matches.